we're here.
We are. Oh my God. We just kind of pop up there.
My ankle feels weird today. Does my ankle look weird to you?
I'm not sure.
Oh my God. Is that better?
I have no idea.
Oh, we're bigger than we normally are.
Yes, we
That's what it is. Oh my God, Tym Moss, we're bigger than life.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, because I expanded it. Yes.
Right. We're bigger than life, and we knew that. And anyone that knows us would have to agree. Tym Moss and Wendy Stuart are bigger than life. And welcome to If These Walls Could Talk
with
Wendy Stuart
and Tym Moss. Hey.
And
my Palm Springs is actually, you can read it.
Oh my God, look at that.
Yeah, we were talking about how StreamYard, it kind of reverses because usually it's a mirror and
Right,
anyway.
because I'm on the left and he's on the right in real perception. Yeah. But right now, I don't know, it's like all ass backwards. So I have to share this with everybody today.
Share away.
We celebrated Nick Lyon's birthday at Ike Ovelli's 50 Shades of Gay, which Tym Moss was in, and it was just 50 Shades of absolutely fabulous, incredible show at the Triad Theater. And I am going to push and push and push that this show gets put up again and again and again, because it's really so entertaining, as if you took Jackie Gleason and Ralph Cramden and you spun them into now and you add a little bit of like a Jacqueline Dupuis, and then bingo, shake it all up. You've got great comedy. Yep. And the audience roared. We roared. And then we went to Thank You, Franco DeLuzio. We went to Rebar.
Yes, absolutely.
That was so.
Went to Rebar for an after party. Had a great time.
Yep. It was really great. It was, didn't it feel normal that night?
It
felt
did.
Like the
it really did.
Used to feel.
Yeah. Go into a club. It was crowded. Everybody partying. Everybody having a good time. It was so refreshing.
It was crowded.
So nice.
Yeah. That made me I was a little worried.
Yeah. But they did check vaccine.
They did. We all had to show our vaccine card.
Yeah.
Except, I couldn't find mine. I didn't. Thank God I didn't lose it permanently. Don't lose your vaccine card.
Right.
There's nothing put in place to replace it.
Well, I have mine on my phone. I have a Excelsior Pass. Yeah. But that only works here in New York.
Well.
So you go outside of New York, like we were in Rhode Island and Massachusetts a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, they don't.
Well, you're so special because I couldn't get the Excelsior Pass because I was vaccinated at a Walgreens. And Walgreens screwed up how they submitted everybody.
Oh my goodness!
So all the people that got their second vaccines there, we were like cast away. It's so sad. Speaking of castaways, guess who we have cast away today?
Oh my God! I'm delighted.
Oh, I love that. and Tim is giving you a little hint as to why he said that, because the two amazing people we have on today have an incredible new song out called The Delight. But without further ado,
well, firstly, we're going to be bringing our producer Chauncey Dandridge, who is always behind the scenes. We're going to bring him out from behind the curtain today.
Because guess what? He's a performer as well, and he is the other part of The Delight.
Yes. So please welcome Chauncey Dandridge and Van Hechter.
Yay.
Yay.
It's such a delight to have you boys on here with us today.
It is a delight.
Mutual.
Now, Van, you're coming to us from where?
I'm in Montreal right now, and but I'll be in New York City a lot in the next, in the fall and the winter, and then in the spring.
Oh,
Wonderful.
so we'll get to
I'm in Montreal right now.
Oh, that's very cool. I love it. It makes me feel like our show is now international.
Absolutely, international.
And Chauncey Dandridge, where are you?
In Astoria.
Yeah.
In Astoria. So
the wonderful world of Astoria.
And we are coming to you live from PANGEA down in the East Village. So we're kind of everywhere. PANGEA has always been very supportive of the arts. And during the pandemic, it was time for us to step up and support PANGEA. So there will be poor Chauncey is going to, there it is. He's GoFundMe down at the bottom. Today. Chauncey's got to be our guest. He's got to be our producer. He's got to do all the graphics. And
I'm good at that.
This is a first. We never had anybody on that was like our producer and also being interviewed at the same time. This is going to be a true test to see if Chauncey can multitask.
He can. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt right now. I can tell you right away that he can. He's only DJing when we're performing.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen him at Stonewall, and where he's doing 10 different things and getting the next person's phone ready with their lineup.
No, he does.
He can multitask.
And you don't dare disturb him like I did one time because he'll yell at you. Plus he yells. I'm working.
I only hurt the ones I love, you know.
Oh my God! So you don't love me? You never do it to me. He's always an angel. He was really an angel with me the whole time. But I saw him. I'm sorry. I'm gonna spill the. Sorry, Chauncey.
A liar. I was
New Year's Eve performance. He was a DJ. He was a host, and all I had to do was sing a song and sort of walk around people. And so the tantrums. It was just he was out of his mind before opening.
So it's wow. So it's not just me. That is refreshing to know.
But he didn't do it to me, which I thought was very gentlemanly. I guess you figured I wasn't traveling all the way from Montreal to be yelled at, which I appreciate very much.
He doesn't yell at the guys. He yells at the girls. Okay.
I've seen a few guys being yelled at.
Look at you.
Right. He's part Italian. You know, he's very emotional.
Polish and Italian. So I am
Italian like Cuomo. You know, I mean, that's part of our culture.
Touching
a little bit of Cuomo
and abusing
there.
Women.
So I'm dying. You just like that, Van. We made it funny. Funny. So how did the two of you meet and then come to collaborate together? Take us back.
Chauncey, go ahead.
I think it was May of 2018. He showed up at Stonewall. They're on Instagram or I'm not really sure if we were following each other, but and then he just showed up one day. Yeah, because definitely. I don't remember exactly, but we had to have known each other a little bit, or like I'm not quite sure. And then he showed up at Stonewall in May of 2018. Completely hit it off, and then I went to Montreal Pride that August with friends. We met up there. He took us to what is the main place called where the drag place?
Oh, I took you to Meadows.
Meadows, yeah, Meadows. And what's so funny is we're sitting there. It's Montreal Pride, and it's nighttime, and also like next up is a performer from Drag Race, and it was Yuha Hamasaki who was just on Drag Race. And I was like, oh my God, I work with Yuha all the time. So it was so funny to see a drag queen that I worked with in Montreal on the stage when we were there. So we really hit it off, and then he came for World Pride in 2019 and marched with. I DJ'd on the Stonewall float.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
And he marched along, and then we started talking, and we started talking about doing one song, right, Van?
Well, you're the one who pushed for like 7. I said one song. First of all, I want to say I walked into in one of our songs, I actually described the feeling of walking into the Stonewall Inn and meeting up with him for the first time. That song has been out since New Year's Eve 2019, and it's called 53 Christopher Street, the address of the place. It's a celebration of the 50th, and but it's just whether we knew each other or not before. I think on Instagram and this and that, but that didn't matter. Sometimes the feeling is more important than the actual details that we feel.
Totally.
So the feeling was, I walked in there, and this doesn't happen a lot in a lifetime. He was my brother. I right away towards the DJ booth, and I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. I have to talk to him. And then I stayed. I said hello. That was it, kind of like just hello. And then I went to the corner in the back, and I listened to his DJ set for I think at least an hour before I went back to him and started offering him drinks. I wanted to know what he was doing, what his sound was, and that was it. I was already, I was on board already. It really took 2 seconds, and that's very rare in a lifetime.
Well, right, but you're so keyed in, Van, that you got that. Okay,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's like you keyed into him. You got that vibe like immediately, and look at what's come from it.
I know. It's amazing.
Right, and you're right. You don't have to know him for a lifetime, because you know what? You do know him for a lifetime.
That's it. Exactly. I agree.
Well, originally we wanted to do something campy and something celebratory of Pride and World Pride. So he wanted to do something about like the relationship between a person and a DJ, like coming into the place. And he wanted me to kind of invoke like a Divine kind of sound. Like, remember Divine's disco music?
I love Divine.
If you listen to 53 Christopher Street, my vocals are very like rocky, kind of campy, like over the top. And the lyrics of this, he wrote the whole song. And, you know, after he sent me the lyrics for that song and we were thinking about that song, I was like, you know, I write poetry and I write lyrics. I go, let's write a couple more songs. And that's how the rest of the songs came about.
That's not even what you said, actually, because you are a very excessive person, which I adore. You said, let's do an album. And I was like, what?
I love this.
I was like, whoa. But you're right. So we will. By the end of this, we'll have an album and it'll be great, you know?
Right.
And all the songs are very, like, they all speak to a different part of the queer experience, like being gay, campy. There's a few campy songs, very disco. Then there's some songs about like one-night stands. There's another song about bullying.
That's an important
one. Surviving bullying and getting over that situation and living your life. The Delight, which is our current single,
is the least gay song, by the way. We had to have one that wasn't only dedicated to the queir community, because you want to be inclusive, and actually that was very important to me. Right. To have a part. Like I hope that one day we won't even need villages anymore.
Oh my God, I so agree.
I don't want to be a heterophobe either, and I actually have more straight friends than I do gay friends. So, and actually, my buddies in the gym are usually these big straight guys, and they keep talking about titties all the time. And these are my best friends. You know, and I don't hang out with the gays. So, because I don't care about Taylor Swift, I don't. So I hang out with those who say something that is exotic and foreign to me. And this song, The Delight, I thought was I think is the most universal. It's really about feeling good in who you are, no matter what that is.
Well, you know what? Now I'm salivating. I really want to hear this song now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I really want to hear it.
And the video is pretty good too. We did something very unusual. We're not in it. We're only in it through pictures.
Wow.
Because there's nothing else we could do during a pandemic. So we
it's a very pandemic video. So
I like that.
You ready?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. Yeah.
We always knew we'd get here, boo. There comes a time, just gotta break through. Don't feel the grime, don't look behind you. Win the game before it's over, be a man and not a hater. Forget the past, yes you remember. Lessons learned to be used later. Dance in the moonlight, baby, bathe in the twilight. Dance in the sunlight now, breathe in the delight. Dance in the moonlight, baby, bathe in the twilight. Dance in the sunlight now, breathe in the delight. Delight. You'll find the rhyme, it's always in you, and it's a crime to give up on you. Forget the past, yes to remember. Lessons learned to be used later. Win the game before it's over, be a man and not a hater. Dance in the moonlight, baby, bathe in the twilight. Dance in the sunlight now, breathe in the delight. Dance in the moonlight, baby, bathe in the twilight. Dance in the sunlight now, breathe in the delight. Delight, we always knew we'd get here, boo. Delight. 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 Drink the cup until it's dry, and finally learn to fly. Drink the cup until it's dry, and finally learn to fly. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Breathe in the delight. Love it.
There it is.
I love the way you formatted it with the still photographs. And it's interesting because the regular people were all very interesting, but every time it came to a still of the two of you, it was so funny and over the top.
We had so much fun during that photo shoot, and Chauncey wanted to kill me. Remember, Chauncey, how
I had just gotten to Montreal that morning. I got sick for like an hour while he worked out and all that. And then all of a sudden we did a 6-look photo shoot in like a couple hours.
It's incredible. You pulled it off.
It was a lot of fun. We did it in my.
We had a bunch of songs, so we wanted a bunch of different looks. So
we did basically we did it in my building. Because I, of course, my base is here, and this is where I own a place, you know, to stay for, you know, and so we did it in my building, and then I this wonderful artist by the name of Anne Laudoire. She's living in France, and as you may or may not know, I'm part French, so it's and I was like, oh, could you what can you do with these pictures, you know? So at first we were in the pool, at the jacuzzi, but the outfits were so over the top. I was like, let's do something more fun with these pictures. And she came up with the animals and the candelabras and
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know,
he had me. I had a crazy weekend. I got there right after working. I went right to the airport. We're at Stonewall. Went right to the airport, a little tipsy. Got off the plane. Got to his house. He let me sleep for like an hour and 15 minutes. And then we did the photo shoot. And then we had dinner and had really good coleslaw. And Montreal has really good coleslaw. And,
that was your reward.
Yeah, the coleslaw is my reward.
I really love coleslaw. I have to remember that. I love it.
And then we the next day, Saturday, we went to his music producer, Eric, his house in it's like it's Montreal, but like the suburbs of Montreal, right?
Listen, I don't know what he's my music partner, my friend. I love him. I love his wife. And we have our own studio there. We have our own little record label, and it's in a room in his house. That's where we record. Now, don't ask me where it is, because past the city, I don't know where I am. I just bring my passport.
Like me in New York.
I don't know where it is. All I know is that nothing over there is high.
It's low building.
So I block it out. I pretend it doesn't really exist.
We recorded my parts for the 5 songs in like 4 hours.
Yes. Wow.
He pushed. I must say, you know, I've sung throughout my life. You know, I was in a band after high school. I perform at Madonna worship, you know, when I do my Madonna party and all that. But he really pushed me to sing in ways that I didn't know I could. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't let me get away with being lazy in the studio.
I love it.
Because you know, I have a deep voice, obviously, but I also have a higher register that I can hit. And he wouldn't let me just do the deep voice I was comfortable with. He was like, no, do it up there. Do it up there. And what he got out of me, he sent me rough vocals from another song that we're working on called Love Temporary. And I didn't even recognize myself. So that's going to be a really cool song when that comes out, because that one's about kind of like a one-night stand. And, you know, mm-hmm. Are you falling in love with your one-night stand? Are you, you know, just that's another aspect of gay culture, you know, just the hooking up and then wondering whether they're still thinking about you.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
I think it's universal, but it is definitely stronger in the gay community. Like, mm-hmm. I think that young people of all orientations can identify.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they get married and they have children and stuff, and we don't. We just keep being stupid teenagers up until like our 60s.
Right.
You know, you listen. I mean, Tim is a gay man. I'm sure you agree. But I'm the girl that like you said, you have tons of straight friends. Mm-hmm. I almost exclusively have just gay men in my life. Okay, it's just worked out that way. So I hear everybody, and I hear it from every age group, and it's especially painful as guys get older in the gay community. Mm-hmm. You know, the lack of commitment. Everyone I know is looking for somebody and not finding anybody. And it's completely ridiculous to me. Like, I look at Chauncey. Chauncey, I think you're an amazing catch. I really do.
Chauncey, you're an amazing catch.
You are. He's like, you know, he's smart, he's generous, he's sensitive. He's got all the right stuff. And I know so many guys in that category, and yet everyone's got such a hard time meeting someone. And I do think making songs about this will call attention to it in a very creative way, which will make people sit up and listen. I
have a theory on that, if you'll allow me to.
Sure.
Please.
So, all right, I just think that in heterosexuality, oftentimes the woman moderates the sex.
Absolutely.
And what you have when men get together with other men, that's what you have. You have very powerful, very fast sex, very intense, but it's really the woman who works on the relationship way before the man does. We don't have that. So we end up having a hell of a lot of fun, but we actually very rarely construct and build. So by the time you're 70, if you haven't built anything, well, it's just, that's it, you know? And that's, I just think that's what we do. I think it's the nature of the man to want to, we're predators. So we just want chase. And thank God in heterosexuality, you've got the woman to bring the guy down. Like just, you know, there.
I was just talking about that earlier today to someone. We just want
to keep chasing and chasing and chasing. And I'm not saying it's healthy. I don't think it is. But
but you nailed it. Is that in the women, it used to be that you would have to date the woman and, oh, no, protect my flower, blah, blah, blah. So it would keep the man like hungry. Right. And so they would have no choice but to go and to get to know the girl, take the girl out to the movies and blah, 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 and get to know her and her family and blah, blah, blah before they had the sex.
Yes.
And again, you remove that filter, like you said, and you have men who by nature are horny and other men who by nature are horny. That's going to go right to the sex. But I was talking to a gentleman or a possible caller earlier today about that we've kind of got it backwards. And so we've decided that we want to meet in person. We want to go out to dinner. We want to talk to each other and shelve the sex for the time being, because the gay community is basically go out, have sex, and then ask the person's name.
But you know what? And I'm glad you're doing that, and that's very mature of you. I've been married twice, so I'm like a weirdo. And I've always have 3 lovers at the same time. It's much easier, you know. Just whatever, you know. I'm busy anyway. So, and there's music. Music is my great love. So I got 3 lovers on a, you know, on a rule, like, what do you say, on a merry-go-round.
On a lazy Susan.
Dude, you know what you need. You
know. So, but I think what you're saying, what you're doing is great. I tried that too a couple of times, and I've noticed, and this is a horrible part of me, if I get to know you first and we don't have sex quickly, then I lose interest and I turn you into a friend.
Lose sexual interest.
And I don't want to have sex with you anymore. You just become a friend.
I can relate to that too, because I used to have either sex partners or friend, and the two did not. Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah,
so I'll do 1 dinner, but you know, if it's 5 dinners, then then
you got to give it up. Give it up.
No coleslaw during that dinner, because you never know what's going to happen afterward.
I don't think this is an easy fix, because what makes a male is his testosterone thing, right?
Right.
If you look at, like, and I talk about this all the time, gay women do not nearly objectify their partners or in their scene to the degree that males do. What? Come on, tell me what you think.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, Chauncey. You have a damn good point, but I always talk to my lesbian friends downstairs. I call them my favorite lesbians. And I'm like, you know, I'm really laughing at them all the time, and I'm right on each time. I'm like, so what'd you do? You know, take a bath together and speak about feelings? And they do, you know, and they're like, how do you know? I'm like, because that's, while I was bonking, I'm sure, I know you were like, you know, rubbing oil all over each other and saying, oh, this is beautiful. And, you know, scented candles, blah, blah.
The whole 9 yards.
Do you think it has to do with the equipment that they have.
I don't know, like, well, I do.
It's not such a, but I do think that women want to nest.
But it's also the conditioning. It is the nature, of women.
Like, you know, like if you get two gatherers together, they want to gather.
It's the hunter-gatherer
thing. Women do not have to be satisfied with penetration.
Yes,
they
have other erogenous zones, and
so
men.
Do we, by the way, for the record, so do we.
And well, yeah, but men
have to always be that.
But men are 99% of the time. Let me stick it in and get
right. Well, you know why? Because that's where their brain is.
For reproduction, we're victims.
We're just victims.
But that's why I think that as the gender construct is continually getting chipped away and demolished, I think there leaves more opportunity for different kinds of sexual experiences. You know what I mean? So it's only going to lead to more, like, as much as there's a primal, you know, hunter-gatherer, stick it in, pound it, and then fall asleep. Now there's, you know, all different kinds of, you know, non-binary and
it's much more fluid now. I totally agree.
I feel like through. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, Chauncey.
There's a lot more opportunity.
I feel like we're going, and especially with PrEP now, I feel like we're going through the 70s all over again.
Yeah,
it's exactly that. It's exactly that. It's free love now. You know, we're not.
We're all on PrEP. Of PrEP.
And pardon me.
Because of PrEP,
because of PrEP.
Yeah, I've had these.
And I think I see. I can't believe my fan base is like 20. You know, so now I see 20-year-olds, and they remind me of 20-year-olds in the late 70s,
right?
With their feathers and their things and their boas, and they fuck up gender, which is great, and then they're so free because they're all on PrEP, so we're not afraid of AIDS anymore, and we just go about and experiment, and I think that's great. But these are only bubbles in time, you know.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, because when you say like not fearing AIDS anymore, because I was there in the middle of it, and I still have trouble with that. I still have trouble with, I'm not on PrEP. I'm still old fashioned with, excuse the crudity, but if anal, then condoms. I can't do it because I've seen what it does, and it's a psychological thing for me, and for me to pull that up and release it, I have trouble with it.
I understand. I saw AIDS while it was still killing people, but towards the end, and I know that through my 20s there was none of that going on, and for me, I would say that PrEP allowed me to for the first time in my life be really truly 100% who I am sexually in the last 5 years. So that's weird. It's new, and it's very interesting, because I thought, you know, I get to see who I would have been.
Right, exactly. And along that line too, because another psychological thing I have is the younger crowd not realizing that they're standing on our shoulders, like that realizing that not long ago it was illegal. It was illegal to.
I agree.
We could not even hold hands. And again, I see like these kids on the train. They're getting married. They're doing all this stuff. They're going to prom.
The groundwork.
They're going to. They're doing things that I was denied, that I never got to do. So I do have some resentments, but I'm working through that. But sometimes I will see a young kid on the train, and I just want to go smack. You're welcome.
But we have to be happy for
them. Wow, Tim, it's all coming out here today. Whoa, baby.
No, I'm kidding.
It's not something you can really help either, you know, because it's like, you know, I started hanging out in the village like in the early 90s, and sex was scary. You know, you were terrified. You were like, oh, you can't do that because you could die from it. You know, we knew people who died. So, you know, I wrote that article for the Westview News about growing up gay in the 80s and 90s.
Oh my, that was such a great article, Chauncey. It was.
If you want to check it out, Westview News, just type in Chauncey and Westview News. And the whole thing about it is that it was terrifying. Like, and also you were not allowed everywhere. You're not allowed to be yourself everywhere. So there was such a taboo about being gay or doing something gay or doing something like having sex out in a parking lot. Or it was so risky. And kids today, it's not their fault, but they don't know what it's like. They at the same time, they don't know what it's like to do something risky that they could, you know, get. I mean, people are still getting gay bashed. People are still getting attacked for who they are. That's not going to go away anytime soon because of, you know, people in power right now. But like, I remember when I was a kid, we'd hang out on Christopher Street, but I was like, you know, hair parted on the side, preppy boy with a button-down shirt and nice shoes and pants, while my friends were like wearing their big boots and like tank tops and Daisy Dukes. So I was kind of like the security guard back then for my friends. If we went to 6th Avenue, which now it's fine, you had to tone it down. You had to turn back. You had to turn back. I mean, they couldn't tone it down because they had Daisy Dukes on and big Doc Martin boots. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of look out for my friends. You know, I was always nervous, and that same nervousness happens when we see like two young queer kids holding hands, or like, you know, sleeping on one of them, sleeping on the other on the train late at night. I get nervous for them, and they're fearless, but I get nervous wondering whether am I going to be able to protect them? Am I going to be able to stand up to the bully? And they're just, and even like drag queens are putting on their makeup at home and coming from Washington Heights all the way downtown to perform.
Right? On the A train, right? You would never have done that before.
You do that? You wear makeup the whole way down? You know? I'm terrified for them, but it's not 1992 anymore.
But again, and that is the evolution. That is, we're seeing the results of
what we wanted. It's what we wanted.
I'm grateful for that.
That's what I was saying earlier. We have to be happy for them now. We can't be resentful.
Absolutely.
I'm good for them. You know,
you can always be a little bit resentful because I'm like, you couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
I don't want to be. But that's fine.
But I'm trying to be very grateful and gracious and happy and proud of them. And
the more you see it, the more you get over the resentment.
Exactly.
If I may, there's one thing that I do say at the end of a couple of shows, especially during Pride. I don't feel resentful. I'm actually really happy for them, and I'm happy that I'm a witness to these people because I never thought we'd evolve that much. I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime, honestly. So I'm very, very happy. But at the same time, I do say keep your guard on because nothing is given.
Nothing's permanent.
Tomorrow it could all turn all over again. Homophobia is a part of humanity. It exists. Right now, we're doing very well. We're just in again, these are bubbles, but hostility will return and we'll need to be soldiers again. So don't think that, whatever, that none of this is important. Pride isn't important. Sticking together isn't important. It's not true. It's not true. We're just going through a very mild, beautiful time right now.
Right.
The war will have to, sooner or later, someone is going to come over, be in power and they're going to want to threaten our rights again.
Well, look at what happened to trans people. I mean, that is a case in point that the most amount of anti-trans legislation has been put through in the last 2 years, just when you're thinking everything's great. And I personally know so many people that have transitioned, are transitioning now more than ever when it's horribly unsafe for people. So you know what? You're totally right. I always say, don't get too comfortable.
No. That's we have to, and when gays don't stick together, I know that I get very upset. When young gays don't stick together, because we used to stick together, we had no choice. I'm like, you better become a family, bitches, because you might need that one day. You might need this other guy to save your ass. So don't be an ass to him right now.
Absolutely. You're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful guests, our producer, Chauncey Dandridge, and the fabulous and wonderful Van Hechter.
All the way from Montreal. So I want to talk, oh my God, let's talk about music. How random of me. So Van, when did you realize that you wanted to be a performer and a singer and all of those things?
Realize it, I don't like consciously, must have been later, but I know that I saw Tom Jones on television.
Tom Jones was your inspiration.
I was mesmerized. I saw Tom Jones on television. This is when I was 3, and I started imitating him.
Get out.
I pointed. I loved it. I was screaming. You know, I was like jumping up and down. I was screaming. And then I started walking like him. I thought his strut was cool. And my mother was like, all right, okay, we're in. Oh, all right, this child. You know, and I think I always knew.
Wow.
Yeah. So were you always pursuing music? Like, are you from Montreal originally? Let's start there.
I'm French-Georgian, but it's just, you know, I was growing up in Montreal, and I don't even feel French anymore. I feel a little bit Georgian because I'm fucking vindictive. Just like
you look a little Georgia. Yeah, you look a little Georgian too.
Well, that's all. I took nothing of the French side physically. It's very strange. I am my grandfather, my Georgian grandfather. I mean, and so that's kind of funny for me because I know what I'm going to look like by the time I'm 75.
Yeah, right.
I'm exactly him. It's like, it's crazy, down to the hands. You know, it's like I know. But this being said, I feel very North American. I don't even feel like a Montrealer. I think for me, I'm a North American person, and I think that my father, who was a French guy, left France for reasons that I completely understand myself, and I'd never go back.
Well, I need to know what that reason is.
I love France, and I love French food. I love art, but the thing is, I don't know what his story was, and I think he felt the same. I think that our eccentricities are celebrated here, and in Europe, there's still such a hierarchy, and you can't behave this way in that context, and you can't do that, and this and that, and it's too many boxes for us. And I think that my father was in his own way, a free thinker, and we're very different, but he taught me to think freely, and therefore, every time I go back to Europe, I feel trapped.
So you're unable to express your authenticity.
I do it, but it always feels like it's not right.
Right.
So, and I was raised to really, you know. So that's it. So I'll go for a holiday and I'll look at the art, but not living there.
But other than that, so you grew up though in Montreal, yeah?
Yes,
were you ever ostracized because of your background?
Oh, it was very different. I went to a very posh, very exclusive French lycée in Montreal. So I never got to know Montreal. I know, it's like, such a snob. It's like, it was so stupid because we were in school with royalty. We were in school with oil moguls. We were in school with all these people. And so I really knew nothing about Montreal until I went to college. And then it hit me. And then it hit me that I needed to relearn everything because I was a little prissy, snobbish European person by the time I got to college. I hadn't been we used to go to France in the summertime, and then Miami and Florida, you know, also. So these were two places we'd go. I never got to experience Montreal. So I arrive in, you know, university, and I'm like, bonjour. And they're like, fuck you, you know? So I had to learn to be, you know,
a little bit Montreal to fit.
Yeah, I even speak the French they speak now, and it's.
I was going to ask if you spoke that French.
Speaking of French, say something French to me. I love French.
Which one do you want? You want Quebec or you want France?
Yours. I want yours.
You want Quebec?
Yeah, Quebec.
Or Quebec. Yeah, do Quebec.
Let's do Quebec. We could do Quebec. Je suis fucking content d'être ici aujourd'hui. Et puis, j'aime beaucoup New York. Et puis, j'espère que je vais vous voir très, très souvent. Je vous adore.
Take me now. I love French. I have no idea what you said, but
I just said I was happy to be on the show.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh.
We're happy to have you on the show.
But you said it with attitude. See, when you speak French, even Quebec French, it comes out with attitude.
You find, All right, that's possible.
I am curious about you. Yes. Do you speak Polish or Italian?
Oh no, I know how to cook Italian. That's about it. Yeah.
You speak Italian? Sorry, a little bit.
I speak a little bit of Italian.
So you are Italian.
French though. We have a song on coming out where I sing in French and he sings in English. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, how cool!
But Chauncey, now, so where are you from originally?
Originally from New Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah, so not too far. We were coming into the city. From Jersey, we call it the city.
Right.
Since we were in high school, so it was our refuge. You know, like the PATH train used to take us to the magical land of New York. So and we'd hang out on Christopher Street. You know the church on Christopher Street?
Yeah. Oh, I love that church.
We sit down and smoke cigarettes and cruise guys as they walk by. And then we'd end up at Uncle Charlie's, which is now Fiddlesticks, the Irish pub.
Yeah.
Loved
that was my first gay bar. And we'd hang out there like when I was 15, 16.
When did you discover your passion for music and like DJing?
Well, I was always the person that when we were at a party, they would always entrust me to put the music on. You know, I would make like mixed CDs and you know, before I started DJing even. So then when a spot opened up at the Urge in East Village, Adam pulled me over there. So that was 2002 when I first started DJing. So I got to I got to party a little. I got to go out clubbing before I became a DJ. Like a lot of people start when they're 18, 19, 20. I didn't start until 26. So I got to have time to build my own sensibility when it comes to what I like musically.
Yeah.
Cultivate that in my head. So that still shows today, like the kind of music I play and, you know, the kind of mixes
your mixes. I love your mixes. Okay. You actually, your DJing is a craft, the way you mix music. So it's definitely distinctive. I'm curious, how old were you when you started to write poetry, Chauncey? Your poetry blows me away because I had you so stereotyped as a bear. And then seeing that side of you, and I actually carry in my phone some of the shows you did with your poetry because it was so sensitively done. How old were you when you started?
I've been writing poetry since very young. Yeah, that was my way to like. You know, I grew up in a big family, all in the same house, so I had.
How many people? How many brothers and sisters or whatever?
I grew up with my grandparents in the house. It was my mom, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my two brothers. So it's a very my father's sister's family lived downstairs. My grandmother's sister lived across. The whole block is very Italian.
Yeah, like that's very Italian.
I think about 75% of the people on my block I was somehow related to. Privacy, so I had to create privacy in a crowded room. You know what I mean? Like I had to
that's so amazing.
So that's why That's why this pandemic, being stuck at home,
brilliant for you.
I was like, this is cool. Like I don't mind being away from people. All my jobs have been retail, bars, some sort of thing with people. So, you know, I have no problem being alone. Like I have no problem hiding in the house and, you know, just chilling out. But yeah, poetry, that's my first love, writing poetry. So.
Well, now, Van, because your music has evolved over time, and how
has it though?
Well, the same broken record, Dad.
I just keep writing the same song, hoping I'll get it right at one point.
But when you decide to start a song, does the music hit you first, or do lyrics, or is it? Because for me, it's sometimes one, sometimes the other.
All right, so let me say something first before we forget, because I've said that in a couple of interviews. I said it in the last interview. I don't even know if he saw it. I don't know if you saw it, Chauncey, but you were talking about Chauncey's DJing. And I really think that Chauncey is one of the best DJs in New York City, and he's not getting enough recognition yet.
I agree.
I don't know what it is. It's your humility, man. It's like you should just go even more out there, and charge more, because I think that you're really, really gifted, and otherwise I wouldn't have made music with you. But I remember listening to that set the first time and just waiting it out before I went and bought you a drink, and I was like, all the songs are perfectly aligned, and you were giving the people what they wanted, not what you thought was cool. You were in it not to say I'm the DJ and blah blah. You were in it to make that crowd happy that night,
make the party.
And I think that's what a real DJ is.
My stuff here and there, though.
Yeah, you're really good. So and this is my last ever compliment to you.
By the way, as the last compliment that Ben will ever make to Chauncey.
And what was the other question? Oh, well, you see, I studied literature. And so I think for the longest time, I would write first. And I'm a bit like Chauncey, actually. My favorite thing to do is write. I like writing, and I like finding little hooks and I don't like using words that are too complicated. You know, I just like finding like little tongue twisters that are funny. I want always there to be humor in what I do. But nowadays, with my record label and Eric Wiseman, my musical partner, and because now we're producing the songs, I think I've become more of a musician. I'll come up sometimes with, you know, like a few strings, and then a few parts, and then a vocal melody, and then we start building the text. I start writing the text afterwards.
Right.
And this is new. This has been in the last 2 or 3 years. I'll just be like, da 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 da, let's do da 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 da, and then he sort of builds around that, and then I write lyrics.
Okay,
that's his
interesting.
process.
I love that. I love that. Well, again, you're listening to, or you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful special guests, our producer, Chauncey Dandridge, and the fabulous Van Hechter. Yay! Now, so now your solo album, which is Love Elastic, and the song The Delight, is that on there?
No, The Delight is a completely different project.
Right.
Yeah. Love Elastic is doing really well as an album.
Right.
We're not viral, but we're talking about, like, we have millions. You know, we're like, I've got
excellent.
So and we've got 2 songs charting from that album at the moment in different parts of the U.S. on small charts, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's
I'm charting, like being #1 charting. I won't even mention when we're 16. You know, it's like when I say charting, I mean it went to #1. So, because I'm not going to be bragging about we're number 16 on this indie chart from Indiana. I won't.
Yeah.
So is this the first time this has happened where you've charted #1?
Yes, because, and I know why. It's because I've opened my own record label, you know, and I just this particular album is signed on a record label that's called Lafayette Street Records in New York City.
Okay.
But it was produced by us, and the original idea was to release it on our own record label. When you have that kind of freedom, you start really doing exactly what you want.
Right.
And I think that's why we're more successful with this album. We really went full in. What do we want to sound like? And with nobody like, you should do it more like this or more like that. And the results are good.
Just 2 more things real quick. One is you're going to be here in New York touring, right?
I think so. If they'll have me.
Do you have those dates?
We have,
if Chauncey doesn't, say that I can't go.
we're doing.
We'll override it. We'll say that you can.
Yeah, you don't have to say "Mother, may I."
We're doing the Q on August 31st, Tuesday night. We're going to be guests for Gloria Swansong's.
Wait, on August 31st, we'll go.
That's a Tuesday. Her show is between 8 and 10, so we'll be somewhere in between there. Van will probably do 1 song early on, and then we'll do our song a little later. We're also doing Club Coming, the Femme party that they do on Thursdays with Maddie Glitterati. I'll be DJing a short set, but we're also performing that. That's a really exciting thing. And then the Saturday, that's September 2nd. It's a Thursday night. And then September 4th, we'll probably do like a midnight show at Stonewall.
Wonderful. Now, how can we find out more about you?
Come home completely burnt out, Chauncey. I'm afraid. I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, this is 3. We're talking about 3 heavy dates here.
Yeah. So, Van, how can people find out more about you?
Well, I'm all over YouTube, and the videos are quite good. I know that they're getting. I thought it's true. Well, they're getting once you hit the million, I think it's like, all right, people like it, you know. So it's kind of like it's not viral yet, but it's still a sign of something. Absolutely. So just Van Hechter on YouTube. There's the Love Elastic, a song called Love Elastic. There's I Believe. There's I Am. All these songs are charting, and then of course our beautiful video with Chauncey, The Delight, is doing really well. I think we're close to 800,000 now.
Yes.
Wow.
In like 4 weeks, which is very nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm on. Of course, you can. I love it if you follow me on Spotify. That really helps.
Yeah.
And
that really helps the starving artist.
And Van Hechter is VanHechter.
Yes.
It's like Hector, but Hechter.
Right. It rhymes with Esther.
Yes.
And you can follow us both on Instagram at Van Hechter or DJ Chauncey D. And I keep all my my gigs, my activism on my DJ page. I have a more personal page, but all my stuff is on the DJ Chauncey page. And
Chauncey, you're not going away yet because I want to talk to you about your activism. That's a huge part of who you are. Okay, we're fine. It's okay. I don't. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Kakuma 13.
Block 13 in Kakuma in Africa is a refugee camp that there's a certain section of it called Block 13 that is primarily all of the LGBTQIA refugees, and they're surrounded by monstrous homophobia and transphobia.
Yeah.
From the Turkanas, the people nearby. And I was just made aware of their whole plight almost a year ago in August. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's a really hard thing because it's hard to explain to people. And then, you know, we were alerted of it during the pandemic, and nobody has any emotional free space to deal with someone else's plight. And it's not like do you have a minute for animal rights? Do you have a minute for that? It's not such a quick conversation.
Right.
It's an in-depth, long conversation to explain what's going on there.
It is, well, but you know what? Within the community, because I've put I'm big in that area, and I've also spent a lot of time in Africa. I think the fact that you do this, first of all, is incredible. And even though you're right, people don't have the headspace for it. When I bring it up in either the gay community or in the, you know, people at the Explorers Club or whatever, they'll talk about elephants. They'll talk about rhinos. They will not talk about human beings that are being persecuted because of their sexuality. And I guess I'm asking you this, Chauncey, what do you think is a way that eventually you can get a message like that out there and get people on board?
I'm not really sure. When I find out, I'll definitely let you know, because we've been trying all different angles. I've been getting, you know, a few you know, bites from friends and stuff like that. But they're just kind of. I personally don't feel helpless. So how can I expect someone else? You know, we're writing letters, we're tweeting, we're doing social media campaigns, stuff like that. You know, and there's GoFundMe's out there and stuff like that. But I think. Some of them, a lot of them in the camp have friended me on Facebook, and I've had chats with them. And I think when you have a chat with them, and you realize that they're not, you know, you find out what they're really going through and how human they are, and how not different they are than us.
Exactly. Right.
That's when you make the connection. That's when you make the connection. So it's all about just the experience. But you know, I've always this is the first thing I've ever. This is actually the second thing, but this is the first thing I've ever done that's been so far away from me. You know, I've done a lot of activism work over the years in New York. You know, I grew up. We were all, me and my two brothers, my parents were all involved in the community. So it's not a surprise that the three of us have
where it comes from
our own things. You know what I mean? Like my middle brother helps run this camp for handicapped kids in the summer. Nice. He does a lot of work at home. My older brother's a principal, and he does a lot of like community stuff. So I just have a wider scope because I'm the one who
we say
India, by the way, you did India as well.
Yes, I was in India.
Small potatoes.
Yeah, India. We hung out with the gay prince and his husband, and actually the film that I helped film while I was in India in 2009. It's called Pieces of Us. It's a documentary, and it's winning awards right now. So hopefully that'll be out. We're hoping to get it on Netflix, which would be really crazy because.
That would be great.
It would mean that some of the stuff that I filmed would be on Netflix, so it would be really wild.
Chauncey, you keep that up. Yeah. You're in the right direction. You're spreading awareness. That is the beginning, and just continue down that line. And any way I can help, and I know Wendy would be
150%.
We're happy to join in and help in any way we can. But Chauncey, thank you so much. And Van Hechter, thank you so very much for taking some time and coming on and chatting with us about your solo album, which is Love Elastic, and also the song that the two of you worked on together called The Light.
Yes, fabulous. Yes. And August 31st, boys, we have a date because Tim and I will come.
Well, I'm flying back from Florida that evening. I'm not sure if I'll get back in time or not. But I will
totally.
I'm not seeing until you're there. So there you go.
I will totally be there. Oh, we did have a couple. If you want to read real quick, we had a couple of people that chimed in on our chat today. I always like to.
Moi, je vous adore.
Emily.
Oh, moi aussi.
Yeah.
Moi aussi.
Yeah.
Amelie, ab studio, Amelie Les Bains was the name. I don't know how badly I butchered that.
Okay. Apollo Cabrera said, great. Teresa Sabin, of course, thank you so much for tuning in.
Evan Lawrence said, that's fabulous. Tom Jones. He loved the Tom Jones.
Yeah, Evan would love the Tom Jones. Evan's show is August 14th in Jersey City for Jersey City Pride. And you're in the show.
Yep. Dawn Hinton says, see you in a minute.
Yes, Dawn, I'm going on to another show. If you boys want to watch me, I'll be on the Jimmy Star Show next. Love you all. Thank you for taking the time out today, really.
So proud of both of you.
Yay. See you on the 31st.